Hey, we read books. It's February 1st, 2017. Exactly 1 month into the year, so I thought that I would kind of talk with you about what I read in January. I read 8 books in January, which surprised me. My goal for February is just 6, so I'm gonna tone it back a little bit. We had a lot of weird snow days here in Portland in January, so there was a lot of just sitting at home and reading that was getting done, so I blame it on that. So I thought I'd just review the 8 books that I read really quickly and let you know what I thought and what I'm reading next. Tell Me 3 Things by Julie BuxBaum. This one was a Goodreads finalist for 2016, so it was on my list to read, obviously. I haven't read a lot of YA lately, so it was kind of nice to get back into that. It took me a little bit to get into this book and to really get where our main character was coming from. I'm always weary of books where there's like a secret person talking to them and they're not sure who it is, whether it's like through email or through IMs or notes in a locker. It always just seems really predictable. This book was not an exception. I kind of knew who SN was the entire time. Not a lot of surprise, but still really satisfying to find out, and it was a really cute, fun read. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I thought I ordered a Fitzgerald book recently. Turns out I accidentally ordered his entire collection, so I've been kind of working my way through that. I was just finishing up his 2 collections of short stories, so this month I read 2 of those. I read Tales of the Jazz Age and also Flappers and Philosophers. I liked Flappers and Philosophers a lot more. There was just something fun and lighthearted about the stories. I really liked that there was some fantasy in there. There was some real life struggles going on as well. Fitzgerald gave a really good rounded view of the world that he was living in at the time. So I gave Flappers and Philosophers a 3 out of 5. There were some stories that just fell flat with me, but others I really enjoyed, so I kind of gave it an average score. And then Tales of the Jazz Age, I only gave 2 out of 5 stars, even though The Curious Case of Benjamin Button is in this collection, and it was really good. The rest of the stories did not interest me. I kept thinking, God, when is this over? The writing style, of course, is all Fitzgerald. It's all very good, but just the stories kind of fell flat with me on this one. The first nonfiction book I read was The Road Taken, The History and Future of America's Infrastructure, and that was by Henry Petroski. I read this one because it was $2.99 on Amazon one day, and I was like, oh, I'll add that to my Kindle. I work in an AE industry, architecture engineering firm, so a lot of what we do is civil work and transportation. So it was really interesting for me to go in and kind of learn a little bit more about that and the history of infrastructure in the United States and how important it is and how it's crumbling. So I try not to freak myself out too much with the state of things going on in America right now, but that definitely brought another issue to light with me that wasn't like a civil liberties issue. It was like, oh, we really need to invest some money in this, so that some parts of the book really didn't resonate with me, found them kind of boring. Some stuff was really fascinating, like the history of light signals and certain really iconic bridges in our country, so it was a nice read. I also give the author props because it's called The Road Taken, and he actually kind of based it off of Robert Frost's poem, The Road Not Taken, and then he based each of his chapters off of a line in that poem, so kind of cool for someone that is like taking a subject that has like nothing to do with poetry at all and really bringing it back for people like me. I gave The Road Taken 3 stars because there were certain chapters that I was just, why am I reading this? But others really intrigued me. I also finally got around to reading Carry On by Rowell. This was my 3rd Rowell book. I didn't realize that I needed to read Fangirl before I read this one, so oops. Now I have to go read Fangirl, which is fine. I love Rainbow's writing, so I'm excited to do that. Carry On took me a little bit to get into. Probably because I hadn't read Fangirl, so I wasn't sure like the background of this story. Once it kind of picked up about 40% in, I got really into it. I love the characters. I love Simon. Love Baz, Penny. I just thought it was really cool. It reminded me of reading fan fiction when I was like in 8th grade. Not that I don't still read fan fiction, but it reminded me of when I was like obsessively reading fan fiction, and it definitely read that way, and it kind of just made me excited. I gave Carry On 3 out of 5 stars. My favorite read of the month was Carl Sagan's A Deep and Haunted World, Science as a Candle in the Dark. I gave this book 5 out of 5. It's the most relevant book I've read so far about what in the world is happening right now in our country once again. There was chapters of this book that really fell flat for me. There's a whole chapter on UFOs and alien abductions, and as someone who's never believed in any of that, It was just, he goes through and just debunks like everything, and I'm like, yeah, I know, I get that. I already never believed in any of that. So that part was kind of rough to get through, and it did feel like it lasted way too long. But it was still a really good read. Towards the very beginning of this book and the very end, Carl Sagan just nails it. I mean, he just will not quit with the truth, and I love that. We need this book more than ever right now if you're looking for something to figure out a solution for problems in the world, science, and learning and education. I read one romance that was YA. It's actually, I didn't realize it was a series. I actually got it for free. It's called White Hot Kiss. It's the Dark Element series by Jennifer Armentrout. So, never heard of it, never read it. Somebody, I think on my Goodreads, like marked it as to read, and then I found it for free, and I was like, oh, I'll read this. I gave it a 3 out of 5. It was pretty good. I hadn't read anything like that in a while, so it was kind of fun. I used to love books like this, like paranormal YA romances. Although the covers look like R-rated adult romance books, but they're not, so I don't know who decided to do that. Weird. But it was really good. I liked it, and I don't know when I'll get to the second and third book in the series, but I probably will read them. Just kind of as a break from some of the harder books I'm reading, just something fun to kind of get through. And the last book I read this year was a George Washington biography called Washington: A Life by Chernow. I'm trying to read a biography by each of the presidents, stopping at Obama probably, because, oh my god. And I'm planning on that taking me 4 years. So I'm going to do 10 books a year, try and average about 10 books a year. Some I'll do 12, 11, just depending on how quickly I get through them. So I'm trying to do Presidents 1 through 10 right now. I just finished Washington. I'm moving on to the John Adams biography by David McCullough, so I'm really excited about that because I did watch the HBO show that was based off of it, so I'm pretty excited to get into that. And I'll let you know what I'm going to read for February. So the John Adams book, for sure. Oh, by the way, 5 out of 5 stars for the Washington book. Really good. Really great overview of him as a person and the decisions he made, and just so relevant right now to what the foundation of our country was based on and what it's, you know, being, oh god, so depressed right now about that. Anyway, I'm going to read John Adams, Ray Bradbury's The Day It Rained Forever. It's a collection of short stories. I've never read his short stories. I'm really excited about that. The Throne of Glass, which is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas, and Anna Kendrick's Scrappy Little Nobody. Very excited about that. Cressley Cole's Arcana Rising trilogy, the 4th book in the series. I can't believe the 5th one's already out, and I just spaced. So I have to read the 4th and the 5th, but I'm just going to read the 4th one in February. And on to that entire collection of Fitzgerald's work. This Side of Paradise is the next Fitzgerald book. So that's for February. You'll see me March 1st, hopefully, and I'll be reviewing those books for you, so stay tuned and let me know what you read in January and what your goals are for the year. Bye!